Why are you so angry? Peter's mother asked, concern filling her voice. Peter, a 12-year-old boy with big blue eyes, a sharp nose, and messy black hair, didn't answer. He clenched his fists, his blue shirt fluttering slightly in the breeze as he stormed out of the house. His mother's words echoed in his head, but he didn't stop. His frustration was boiling inside him like a volcano ready to erupt. The night air was crisp as he walked aimlessly, his red pants brushing against the tall grass. Without realizing it, he found himself at the seashore. The waves crashed against the rocks, their roar drowning out the noise in his head. Peter sighed, kicking a small stone into the water. "Why is my life so ordinary?" he muttered. "Everyone has something special, some purpose. But me? I'm just nothing." As he stared at the horizon, his eyes caught something strange. Half buried in the sand was an old, dusty book. The cover was worn, but golden letters gleamed faintly. The Book of Magic. Peter hesitated, then reached for it. The moment his fingers touched the cover, the ground beneath him trembled. A bright light burst from the pages, and before he could react, everything around him spun into darkness. A world of magic. When Peter opened his eyes, he was no longer at the seashore. He stood in a mystical land where the sky shimmered with shades of purple and gold. Towering trees whispered secrets, their leaves glowing softly in the dark. Strange birds flew overhead, constantly changing colors as they soared. "Where am I?" Peter whispered, his heart pounding. A deep voice answered, "You have entered the world of magic, where only the brave survive." Peter spun around. An old man stood before him, wearing a long black robe adorned with silver symbols. His gray eyes bore into Peter's soul. His trembling hands held a staff that seemed to hum with energy. "Who are you?" Peter asked cautiously. "I am the guardian of the book, and you, Peter, have been chosen. But before you can unlock the true power of magic, you must face 3 trials. Each will test your courage. If you fail, you will be trapped here forever." A shiver ran down Peter's spine, but he swallowed his fear and nodded. "I'm ready." Peter arrived at a wide, rushing river. Its dark waters swirled violently, shadows moving beneath the surface like living creatures. "This river represents your fear of the unknown," the guardian said. "Cross it, and you will conquer the fear that holds you back." Peter's stomach tightened. He had always been afraid of deep water, but there was no turning back. He took a deep breath and stepped into the river. The icy water wrapped around his legs, pulling him downward. Shadows coiled around his ankles, whispering his worst fears. "You're not good enough. You'll fail." Peter shut his eyes and pushed forward, his heart hammering. The whispers grew louder, but he refused to listen. Step by step, he moved forward, until suddenly the river's grip loosened. The shadows disappeared, and Peter found himself on the other side, breathless but victorious. The second trial, the Tree of Doubt. Peter now stood before an enormous twisted tree. Its dark roots stretched across the ground like clawed fingers. It pulsed as if alive. "This tree feeds on doubt," the guardian said. "If you let your self-doubt control you, it will consume you. Cut it down, and you will silence your doubts forever." Peter grabbed the axe lying nearby. As he raised it, the tree whispered, "You're weak. You can't do this." For a moment, Peter hesitated. Then, gritting his teeth, he swung the axe. The blade struck deep. The tree shrieked, its voice filled with all the doubts Peter had ever felt. But with each swing, the whispers grew fainter, until the tree finally collapsed into dust. Peter stood taller, feeling stronger than ever. The final trial, the Cave of Darkness. Now, Peter faced the last challenge, a dark, endless cave. A chilling wind blew from its depths. "Your greatest fear awaits inside," the guardian warned. "Only by stepping into the unknown can you truly find your strength." Peter took a deep breath and walked in. Darkness swallowed him. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. Then, suddenly, a shadowy figure appeared, a twisted version of himself, eyes glowing red. "You will never be enough," it hissed. Peter clenched his fists. No, he said firmly. I am more than my fears. A brilliant light erupted from within him, banishing the darkness. The shadow figure let out a final scream before vanishing. The cave walls crumbled, revealing a path back to the Guardian. The return. Peter emerged from the cave, his heart pounding with triumph. The Guardian smiled. You have faced your fears and conquered them. The real magic, Peter, was never in the book. It was inside you all along. Before Peter could respond, a bright light surrounded him. The next moment, he was back at the seashore, the book resting in his hands. He looked at the waves, then at the sky, and smiled. I am not ordinary. I never was. With new confidence burning inside him, Peter turned and walked home, ready to face the real world with the strength he had always carried within.